Welcome back to the Last Week This Week podcast, episode 34. I'm Ian Scott.
And I'm Zack Huber.
And this week we are talking about a bunch of nerd topics from the last week and this week. And what are we talking about, Zack?
We are talking about Blue Beetle. We're going to talk Ahsoka. We're going to do those as reviews. We also have delays for Disney Plus Marvel shows. Comments.
Godzilla trailer?
A new Godzilla, not from Warner Brothers, which looks very interesting. We also have James Gunn's comments about older Batman films and possibly Giancarlo Esposito doing a DC role. And those will all have time codes that you can jump to. But I think we're going to start with our review of Blue Beetle. You just saw it today. I saw it a couple days ago.
Yeah, as of the day we're recording. And so it's super fresh in my mind. But we're going to start off with no spoilers and then get into spoilers.
Right.
So what were you thinking of it?
I thought it was I liked it. I think it overall it was a fun movie. It had some stuff I really liked. I liked a lot more of it towards the second half than I did the beginning.
That's interesting. Okay.
But I mean, there's a lot of stuff at the beginning I liked too. I mean, overall, it was a good, fun movie. The only thing is that it falls a little bit too much into superhero superhero isms. It has just a bunch of superhero tropes that are unfortunate. But I did like the Hispanic sort of having Hispanic culture and music and
the Mexican culture.
Yeah, just into it, they're representing it and there's loads of things that I feel like you without going to spoilers, there's things that I think a lot of people in Hispanic families would deal with and would be nervous about that happen in this movie and play out in very traumatic ways. And I think for the most part, I think it was really great to see all of that in a DC superhero movie. But I mean, I overall I enjoyed it. It was okay. It wasn't something that I'm necessarily dying to go see again. But I did enjoy it for while I was watching it for the most part. It just was a little has those tropes. Yeah.
I mean, for myself, I would say I really enjoyed it. Probably more than you at this point, which is surprising. I think you're usually the more positive one. But yeah, I truly, I love the theme for this movie. The main, there's a couple of themes, but the main one is just family.
Right.
And it works so well. And Jaime Reyes's family is fantastic. The relationships he has with all of them. And it just feels so authentic and real for me. And yeah, I mean, I feel you though on the comic book tropes. For me, most of those come in the third act, so I was kind of surprised to hear you say the third act was stronger for you in that regard.
See, yeah, okay. Sorry, I'll let you finish. Yeah,
sure. But yeah, I mean, other than the family theme, I love Palmera City. I think I'm noticing a theme in myself that I really love superhero projects that take place in their own fictional city.
Yeah,
like Jersey City or Madripoor, that Marvel's done recently. I think that works on a more creative level than just setting it in LA or whatever. So yeah, Palmera City was great. I mean, what else did I like? I love seeing how involved Ted Kord's legacy was in this.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool to see. I mean, I'm not even a big Blue Beetle fan, and I was recognizing things, and I'm like, okay, so Blue Beetle fans are really probably loving all of this. but yeah, I would also say pretty good soundtrack, and that to me got even stronger in the third act. Like they had some really good music for the end of that movie for sure. But yeah, I think I'm really liking it. I think there are some things I'm not liking, but I'll get to those in the spoiler part that we do. So yeah, we can get into spoilers now if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. So I guess that I can speak about at least like the superhero isms. Like there was a lot of stuff at the beginning, like the very beginning that you have. What's her name? Who's the sister or the aunt or whoever of Ted? Is that his sister?
Yeah, it's Ted's sister, I think,
or cousin maybe.
That's my. I think that is a problem I have, is that they never really go in depth on who Victoria Court is,
right?
And
or
I'm like,
what happened?
But she's got the last name,
right?
And they explain a little bit, like her story and how like the father gave the company to Ted over Victoria, but they never made it seem like they were siblings. And I had to look up after the movie if they were or not. So
and are they?
Yeah, they're siblings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the movie, they were asking her as they were like digging into this thing. It was like, how do you even know if it's in there? And she just said, I can feel it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Sure.
She's just got a feeling,
and I will say, like, towards the end, like there or the second half, like, yeah, there was a lot of superheroisms. There was like you don't deserve this power or right. There can only be one of us, and I'm just like, oh my God, how many times have heard
the line
this?
he said twice was the what was it? It was like the love you have for your family makes you weak.
Oh yeah, and then towards the end, it was like, no, it's what makes me strong. And
I'm like, I get it's the theme of this movie, but like, there's no reason for the bad guy to have said that.
Well,
like in my mind,
yeah, like him as a character was a bit like when they did that reveal.
He's my least favorite in the movie.
Well, yeah. Well, I would love. I guess I'll ask why, because I don't.
Yeah.
But like for at least like for me, I don't like all his motivations seem a bit like I don't actually understand his motivation half the time, because eventually when we get around to the flashback of what happened to him, it was like, oh.
I mean, that's a good flashback.
No, yeah. Look, it's great. It's just this whole time, like, I don't understand. Like, I still don't understand what his motivations are, other than like, did he want to be loyal to this person who's now also like fucked him up, or like, I guess she like took him in from a very young age, and
right. Like in my mind, though, she kept saying like, I'm gonna fix you, but if she took him in from a young age, there's nothing to fix then. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I thought, like it when she said that originally, I was like, oh, okay. So he was like a soldier that she found that was paralyzed,
right?
And she's like fixing him, right? But no, it's not that case. So yeah, it's a little odd that they had it like as her going back that far where he was a kid to save him. Yeah, and so that really, you're right. But like, what were his motivations? Why was he so loyal to this woman who had made his life awful?
Yeah, I have no idea. But like, he was just like the same kind of. It was just a typical like, oh, the villain with the same powers as the hero, and though to a good extent, like it wasn't until like the end of the movie that he had much of a fighting chance against Jaime.
True.
Like Jaime like could have just devastated him. And I also have questions about like going back to the beginning, they do have the Scarab. And freaking Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows is like experimenting on it. Or like, but like if it was so easy for them to just download all of the information from Jaime, and also have like a machine solely set up to do that. Like that isn't that was something that just they have a machine that can just, you have to have purposefully made a machine that can do that. But like, why didn't they just do it then? Like, why didn't they just like upload from was it that it had to be
like, why were they?
Did it have to be?
Why were they so confident that no one was going to steal it?
Or like, did they need it to be attached to a host to download it? I don't know, but
no, because remember at the end she's like the guy was arguing that they needed to keep Jaime alive, the scientist guy.
Yeah,
and she was like, that doesn't matter, just kill him and then we can study it when it's off.
So like, I don't know why they didn't just start from the beginning, but I guess you wouldn't have a movie. But
sure.
But I will say I loved. You haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows, but when he's like, my name's not Sanchez, it's blah 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 blah, blah. And then he ends with De La Cruz, and it's Guillermo de la Cruz. So like, there's a nice little like What We Do in the Shadows like moment there, which was great.
That is cool.
But I don't know. I really was getting more into the movie when it had more of the, because like the soundtrack was great, not just the like the songs that they were playing, but the literal like composed music. It was very 80s synth wave.
Yeah, the synth stuff was great.
Yeah, and so when they started to dive more into the action, the synth, like just like this noir synth sort of thing. And like him doing like that hallway fight in the corridors and like when like that was pretty sick. And
well, I like to touch on that.
Okay.
If you're so basically, I think I came out of this movie really liking the story that was laid out, but I can't say like there was any fight scene that I was like impressed or I was like, oh yeah, that really killed it. I don't know. Like I genuinely would not come back to this movie for the fight scenes. I think
they were still pretty like subpar, I think. But like,
I think like the only thing that was exciting for me was him testing his powers, but we had already seen all of that in the trailers. So I was like, okay. I mean, it's cool again, but you know,
and
I would have liked better fight scenes.
I think. I mean, the story, I guess for me, like the story, I did like it. I liked the stuff that was going on with the dad. I think the family was great. The dad was great. Yeah. Like all the family was pretty great.
The relationship between them. And like the relationship he had between his like his dad and like his uncle. Like his uncle Rudy and his relationship was great. I actually weirdly love George Lopez in this role.
Yeah.
He's like the perfect uncle. So yeah, props to him.
Yeah. No, the family was great. The person I saw it with was saying that there is a lot of Spider-Man isms to this movie. You know, you have the father figure that passes away. You have like this.
Sure, but you could say the father figure passes away in most superhero material, but
sure, but like he's like what I was gonna. The father figure passes away. He's it's a bug related like superhero. He is juggling like his work life and his like romance life and his family life, and he's like a young dude, and so there's a bit of this like Spider-Man isms to it, which is not like a bad thing. It was just interesting to see it with that. So like when you were talking about the story, I was like, yeah, the story's good, but it still felt like something that I could like. I didn't like it. It felt very predictable, which is like still the case for a lot of superhero movies lately, which is a problem. And that's why I said like it was fine. It wasn't anything that blew me out of the way. It was just there was also the romance, the love interest. What I forget her name.
Jennifer.
Yeah. It was so funny at the end of the movie. She like, so they're doing like the funeral and like all of the neighbors come out, and she like shows up in the motorcycle and is like, so we're gonna rebuild your home. Yeah. And then I forget what else it was. It was like and we'll get you a job, Rudy. Oh, and here's a new truck. And
Yep.
and then she all of a sudden is like, looks at her watch and says, I really have to get going. And I was just like, wait, you don't need to get going anywhere. What, you just drop by to like be like, oh, here's a new house and here's a new truck.
You know what's funny?
and
Is that immediately after that, like Jaime asks where she's going, and she's just like, "Yeah, I'm just going back to my dad's place."
Exactly. That's what I was trying to get. She was like, I have to go back to my dad's place to like look at his art.
Look at my mom's painting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
what? You don't need to get going. You could easily
You
just
could
stay
stay a
here,
little
right?
bit.
Exactly. He's like,
Yeah.
oh no, it's really pressing that I go and look at my dead mom's art right now. It was so ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that until you just said it, but that is funny.
Yeah, that was the part
Yeah.
that I was missing. I was trying to like replay it, like I was trying to talk about it the other day, and I was like, what was so fun? Because I was dying. I was like, I was just thinking to myself, like, yeah, I really got to go look at my dead mom's art. Bye, guys. But anyway.
Bye, guys. Sorry about your home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I guess, that's kind of like a goofy kind of complaint about the movie, I guess. But some more actual, maybe not like like actual complaints, but I guess some little gripes or some things I would have written a little differently. So I guess adding on to the villain guy, I also thought it was dumb for him to have like had to change a heart at the end. We didn't really touch on that, but like to me there was no speech or like realization he would have had for him to like suddenly be on Jaime's side and like kill his boss.
I feel like it had something to do with the fact that since Jaime is infused with the Scarab and Carapax, the villain, also had that fusion, and I guess like the Scarab was like knew about it because it had infused with him as well, that maybe there was some sort of joined like knowledge,
they had some sort of joined memory,
perhaps,
that like
and
he like saw the memories that Jaime saw or something.
And I don't know, maybe it was like he like didn't kill him, and that was like, and he was like a younger, like Mexican Hispanic man, and was like, maybe it all just hit him in the right spot. Yeah, I agree. Like it, and the OMAC. Not that I'm like, because I feel like I'm not a huge like comic book purist when it comes to the material, but the whole OMAC sort of storyline, I just felt it was a little underwhelming. Yeah, I mean, it just felt like OMAC felt like such a, at least in my opinion, it's such a great idea for a movie, and like I would have preferred to actually have seen like multiple OMACs instead of just like the idea of and like that's almost like a Justice League threat, and I'm just surprised that they decided to make it into this Blue Beetle movie, and like OMAC was like hardly even, like it was just Carapax at that point, like, and I think Carapax on his own is just like not even related to OMAC in the comics. So it was just a weird sort of thing and I was like, oh, okay. And I think the villain for Wonder Woman 84 is like the guy who like starts the OMAC project. So there's just,
oh, is he really?
Yeah,
Max Lord.
Yeah, there's already so much like weird, and I was like, all right, well, this movie's not even going to be canon anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, okay, so I'll get back to that.
Sorry, yeah.
No, you're fine. But yeah. So my other kind of weird complaint, I think, is it's kind of with Jaime and how he was written. Basically, I liked his theme of not feeling like he had a purpose, or like, not knowing where he belonged. But I feel like it wasn't touched that much upon in the movie, like for the first couple of acts. Like, he had that degree that was in pre-law. So I guess in my mind, I'm like, well, if you're gonna Like if I'm gonna write this movie, and if we keep him in college, then like maybe I would mention him like being a little more interested in law, and like maybe just like spreading the fact that like he has some knowledge about law, and like maybe it's in his personality or whatever. Or I just would have written it differently as to like he like maybe he didn't finish college and he just like he's not finding like what he wants to do in life, and that's why he has to come back home. Like I don't know, I think I would have leaned into that more if I was gonna write Jaime as like, you know, for this movie.
Sure.
But it all ended up working. It just could have worked better, I think.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And I think I had one more.
I do like,
Maybe not.
I do like the kind of like the anime references with like there felt like quite a bit of anime like fighting references in the movie, like the big sword, kind of like how the fight scenes would go down and be shot kind of felt like it, and also like at the end where he does like the name of the scarab while doing like the Dragon Ball blast, it almost was like Kamika.
Oh yeah.
You know. So I like stuff like that. I thought it was fun.
Sure.
I thought
Kinda young stuff.
I thought the grandma was funny and like great.
Oh my gosh, she stole the third act. She was great in the third act.
Down with the colonizers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean she I wasn't expecting that at all, and it was very funny and very charming.
And also the Ted Korg stuff was really exciting. You know, I'm not like very familiar with a lot of Blue Beetle stuff, but it was really fun to the only I feel like it was handled like it was almost there with it. Like there was like I appreciated him being this weird ADHD like Batman sort of like
I loved
weird
how
gadgets.
like almost where like they were saying like half his gadgets like might not work, and like they were all really quirky and goofy, and
like I appreciated
I loved all that.
Yeah, I loved all that, and I like the idea that there is going to be a Ted Cord, he's still alive post credit scene,
right?
You know?
Yeah, they teased that at the end that he's back and he's calling out for his daughter,
which
in the end credit scene.
I don't think they would have kept that I
think James Gunn wants to use Ted Cord.
Yeah,
I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah.
And I going back to your point earlier, I think like even though this movie won't like be in the continuity of DC Universe, like I think they'll use the family again, and I think they'll use Jaime and the suit, and like I think they're gonna use all of the aesthetics and personality that was built around Jaime. Maybe this movie won't be like referenced, and like Victoria and maybe Jennifer Cord won't be referenced. No, I think Jennifer would have to be, right, if Ted Cord comes back. But
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
But overall, I mean, yeah, it was good. I wasn't like I didn't like love it. I didn't hate it. I just was like, yeah, it was fun, and it had some like kind of ridiculous things like just funny, ridiculous things, like when he like shows up back at the house because they're threatening his family and he's like fighting them. She like Victoria's like, get the
fire in the family.
Huh? Oh no, not
like when she's like fire on the family.
No, because that I'm like, okay, sure. It's just like he'll show up, do his, you know, to save them. But it was that on the helicopter that she was like, ready the claw, and like have this
and it's swiveled around.
Exactly. It's like first of all, we're calling it the claw, and it's like this, and I was just like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like it's just stupid things like that I'm like, that's ridiculous.
It's crazy villain stuff for sure.
Or when she's like, there's like a infomercial about the OMAC thing that's playing, and I just look at the suits and I'm like, that looks stupid. Like those OMAC suits look stupid.
Yeah, they do.
So just,
but yeah, overall, for me, I like it a little more than you. I think it's really funny at points. It's got a lot of heart.
Yeah.
Made me like a movie that can make me emotional multiple times in a movie. Like I gladly watch it again. I just think it could have been better on the superhero tropes. Could have had a little bit better of a third act and some better fight scenes in general.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad you liked it more.
So next we wanted to talk about, in line with DC stuff, James Gunn's comments from like 11 years ago, I think.
It's a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, from what I know is that, his old Facebook account was like unearthed, and some opinions he had about the Batman movies was released to the public and had a lot of controversy. So yeah,
Which is funny. It's up there. It's funny to say like, oh, this was released to the public. It's like, it's been up there. It's
been up there.
Just somebody decided to like rehash it, like re-earth, like just like show it again, like a decade plus later.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be controversy, but it is apparently. I mean, and here's the thing: they are very striking opinions.
Yeah, they're pretty. Yeah. They're pretty harsh opinions.
Now, I will say, speaking on the Batman '89 movie, do you remember what the quotes were?
No, I mean, I can look them up. I mean, real quick.
Basically, he was just like Michael Keaton's voice is terrible for Batman. The movement is terrible for Batman. Jack Nicholson as the Joker's terrible. The soundtrack is terrible. And it's one of like the most boring Batman movies. I think he said it was.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, that is very harsh, but I don't necessarily disagree with him. I am myself am not a fan of Batman 1989. And I'm not a fan of Jack Nicholson's Joker. I agree the movement and the voice are a bit rough for Batman. Also, he complained about Batman, like the way they wrote for Batman. And yeah, a lot of the time they made him like the secondary character to the villains. So like I get all the gripes with those movies. I still really find the second one charming. So gladly he didn't rip into Batman Returns, but he did rip into Batman Begins from 2005. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, 2005.
Yeah, and he was basically just saying that he doesn't think that one is a good Batman movie either. I don't remember what else he all said from that.
He was also saying that like the Dark Knight is or at least like it was in it. I mean, I can read all the stuff he's said if you.
He said both Batman Begins and The Dark Knight weren't very good Batman movies. Yeah, but go on. Yeah, if you want to.
Keaton did have a ridiculous voice. That said, I'd rather put up with a ridiculous voice than with horrible action sequences and acting barely worthy of the Batman TV show. I have no idea how you can think that the Burton Batman has more similarities with Moore or Miller's Batman and Joker than Nolan's does. And listen, I have problems with both of Nolan's films. I don't think either one is classic, and I don't even really think Batman Begins is good. But they're far superior to the first Batman. C, none of your defenses get by the fact that despite being the first cinematic dark take on Batman, so what, Stallone's Judge Dredd was the first dark take on Judge Dredd. The movie is awful. Oh yeah, and Jack Nicholson as the Joker is Jack Nicholson in The Shining with shitty clown makeup. Fuck you, everyone involved with that travesty. And then that Batman is poorly written. The soundtrack is the worst work of everyone involved, which I highly disagree with, by the way. One of the most boring
but
films
some parts
ever.
of that soundtrack is bad.
Not only that, the reveal of the Joker as the killer of Bruce Wayne's parents spits in the face of Batman's origins.
Sure, I don't love that either.
And Burton's Planet of the Apes is genius in comparison.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So okay. It's some pretty harsh takes. For sure. I would love to know what he thinks about those movies all these years later.
Now, over a decade later.
But it's also kind of like, I don't know if I would necessarily believe whatever he decides to say, because he's
Sure.
the head of DC, and I don't know what to take from,
Because like I can't imagine that him criticizing any like past DC movie that's considered a classic would go over well.
right.
You know? So I don't think he will ever say that again. If he's asked about that again.
Yeah.
But
I think if those are his takes, like those are his opinions, and that's fine.
right.
You can dislike movies that other people like, and that doesn't mean that you have no grasp or cannot be in charge of a studio that owns that character. I certainly don't think that Batman 1989 is
A travesty.
I don't think it's terrible. I also don't think it's what I ever imagined Batman to be. You know, like
No.
I think it's nostalgic, and I think it's, for a lot of people it was really big and it's important, and it certainly like has a lot of pop cultural relevancy, and it is like, I do love the theme. I do love like the idea of the suit. I think the suit's a little, it's a little rough, but
I don't know if anything for me was executed well in that movie besides like how Gotham looked.
Yeah,
I love how Gotham looks in those two movies, but everything else, maybe the Batmobile's good, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't love most of that first Batman in 1989.
I mean, I haven't seen it in a minute, but I didn't like.
Yeah.
It was good. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't mind it. It wasn't like what I thought of as Batman. It was just kind of this like, we're gonna try to make a Batman movie in live action, and it was just like an interesting take. It was an interesting sort of experiment, and I like Batman Returns a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I think his takes on do I think that the Nolan Batmans are like definitive Batman stories either? No, I think they're very much like a hyper real, like not hyper, but like a very, it's much more grounded and trying to make Batman like an actual person. And it's more,
it's not your stereotypical Batman.
Yeah, like Gotham is not Gotham. I mean, Gotham gets the most Gotham looking in the first movie, and it's still just more of a gritty city. Like there's not like a whole ton of personality to it. But what I want to say is, I think anybody who's like, oh, fired James Gunn, how dare he? He can have these opinions. The only thing that I think is an issue is when the new Batman movie comes out, everyone, if it's not amazing, if it's not the best Batman movie you've ever seen, people are just gonna pull up these comments and be like, and it's just gonna suck to be him, because they're gonna be like, well, now you had the chance to make a Batman movie, and now like what like these are your opinions of these other popular Batman movies, and they're just gonna be used as like some sort of way to troll him or
it's possible.
There's definitely gonna be people who are like, look what you said and you made this shit, like
right. Yes, because he has his hand in the movie regardless, but it's not like he's directing and writing like Batman like he is for Superman. It's not like he's gonna get full blame for when it
I would hope
does good or bad.
But he's still the head, so I do think there'll be a bit of like, well, you did see the dailies every day, and you did like pick out who you wanted to be the director, and so and so forth.
Yeah, that's true. So probably not good to have these comments out there. But I'm not upset with him to have these opinions.
I think they're pretty crazy.
I'm not even upset that he's
like, I think they're harsh. I think they're very harsh.
They're very harsh. They're very harsh opinions. And I think he was a very radical opinion guy back in that kind of era. So it doesn't surprise me that was what he was saying back then. But yeah, I don't think he would make those comments today. I'm not even sure if he believes those comments fully today. Who knows? But yeah, I definitely don't fully disagree with him. I definitely don't fully agree with him either. But yeah, some very interesting comments.
Yeah. Some other pretty interesting comments are Giancarlo Esposito, which you probably seen him in a bunch of stuff. But he's most famous for Gus Fring in Breaking Bad. He's also been in quite a lot of other projects lately. I'm trying to...
Got The Boys.
He's in The Boys. He's the voice of Lex Luthor in Harley Quinn.
Oh, go on. Right. He's just can't think of the character's name, but he's a Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, he's Moff Gideon.
Yep.
But he was at I forget. He's at some convention, and he was answering questions from fans, and brought up that he has spoken to James Gunn, and that we may possibly be hearing soon about him joining a project in the DC universe. And I think a lot of people have been talking, not that you can't do both, but like a lot of people have been like wanting him to be like Professor X in Marvel. And he's been talking about being wanting to be like a good guy because he always plays the villain.
Right.
I just thought it was interesting. I think he'd be a great addition to whatever project they have him in. I don't think he would ever detract from a movie. I think he's great, or a TV show. Who knows? But I was wondering if you had any ideas about who he could possibly be playing. I feel like.
Sorry, go on.
No.
I mean, I feel like the most stereotypical like casting he could be in is probably in Superman Legacy as like Lex Luthor.
But it does seem like they probably want like a younger Lex, you know? I mean,
that would make sense, right? I guess for me, like with the 10 projects that they've announced, I don't know where I would put him in this, honestly. I think like maybe in the Lantern show but it's a dark mystery. Like would you...
I can see him being in that.
Right. Like, could you see him being, and I feel terrible that I'm forgetting this character's name because I used to be a really big Green Lantern fan. But you know, the guy that was in Ryan Reynolds' movie that like was teased to become the villain.
Oh, Sinestro.
Yeah, Sinestro. I could see him playing like a Sinestro. I think that could be cool.
I could see him playing a Sinestro.
Yeah.
Similar vibe to Mark Strong in some ways, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. How was Mark Strong, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what else I would cast him in these 10 projects.
Yeah, I mean, if he was playing a good guy, I've heard he could be a potentially good Martian Manhunter. I like that. I could see him. I don't know if I would prefer it, but like the idea of a Jon Stewart Green Lantern or some sort of Green Lantern.
Would you want him as like a non-superpowered character?
A
like
Two-Face?
Maybe
I don't know.
Or
him having
him as a good person.
Oh, Perry White. I've also heard Perry White could be an interesting one.
Who's Perry White?
The head of Daily Planet.
Oh, right. Okay. I mean, he could even be like a Jim Gordon type if you wanted.
Sure, he could be a Jim Gordon.
Yeah,
I think he could probably rock a mustache, and yeah, he could do that. He could
absolutely.
I mean, I think there's a plethora of roles. I think I definitely have no idea, and I'm sure he'll be great at whatever it is. It would be a bit strange to see him like CGI'd up and with all the fighting like that. I have a feeling that they'd probably want to keep him somewhat, a
Real.
non-super,
Real looking.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's interesting.
He could
at
also
least
be maybe one of the Authority. I don't know which
Sure.
one, but that could be cool.
Yeah, there was a whole list of like potential rumored ones, rumored castings, and one of them was quite old. I think they were having not he's not that old, but like they wanted Sam Worthington to be the Batman equivalent. Which like Sam Worthington's I think in like his 40s.
That's what I was thinking.
So I think they have and there was quite a range of like ages in there. So I mean he could be for sure.
Right. Okay.
Obviously I love him as Lex
personally-
Luthor and Harley Quinn, but that's, just his voice.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
and he's a great Lex Luthor and Harley Quinn. So
Yeah. I mean, as much as I love him in the villain role, I like even myself, I've been like a little tired out of seeing him in that role, and I want to see him in something different.
sure.
So
He's also
like
in Far Cry as the villain.
Yeah, he is the villain in Far Cry. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with him. I would love to see him as Professor X. I think that's a very cool role.
Yeah.
So if there's somebody like that,
A Brainiac.
that's very good and that allows him to show his full face and look real, then I'm fully on board for the DC universe and Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. So next, we wanted to talk about. That's a good question. What did we want to talk about next?
Delays.
The delays.
Disney
yeah.
Plus Marvel delays.
I think it was early, like very early this year, that they delayed the shows. I think all of them indefinitely, except Loki and Secret Invasion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now they've, I guess, technically delayed them again, but given some actual like time windows or time frames. So Loki season 2 is staying to October 6th. What if season 2 was slated at one point for early this year? Now it's set for around Christmas this year.
Mm-hmm.
Echo was supposed to come out in November of this year. Now it's coming out in January of next year. X-Men 97 was supposed to come out late this year. Now it's early next year. Agatha, whatever it's named now.
Coven of Chaos.
Well, I mean, now I'm hearing Darkhold Diaries, but I don't know if you heard about that.
I didn't hear about that, but
yeah.
Which one do you prefer?
I think Darkhold Diaries weirdly is the one I prefer because I think it's gonna tie into like Wanda's stuff and like us learning about the Darkhold in general. So I'm more into that than anything else.
I don't know. Darkhold Diaries sounds a little ridiculous, but okay. It sounds like,
does it? Okay.
I don't know. It sounds like a cheesy metal band.
But yeah, so that's now slated for late next year. And Ironheart, Wonder Man, and Daredevil have all been delayed indefinitely.
Which sucks because I don't think Ironheart or Wonder Man, I don't think they're shooting. I could be wrong, but at least Daredevil was shooting.
Daredevil was shooting, and I thought I had heard that Ironheart like was either done or close to done filming.
Oh, okay.
So I could be wrong about that, but it is surprising. But they probably, again, these delays are more so caused by the strike that's going on and a deal not being come to.
Yeah.
But so that this is gonna them pushing back the whole slate makes sense because they do have as much as I harp on them for not having an interconnected story, I'm sure there is a plan they're following and an interconnection in some way. And so if one project gets pushed back, a bunch of projects probably have to get pushed back. So I don't know. And I still think it's possible that a few of these shows never come to the light of day because I think they are trying to scale back on the amount they're putting out. So I think it's possible we never see Wonder Man.
See, that's the one that
might be unfortunate.
I might like. I was gonna say out of all of these shows that are supposed to come out, like I just, especially after seeing all of the shows that Disney Plus has Marvel Disney Plus has made and put out,
right?
Me and I think for the vast majority of, well, I do think that a lot of people just kind of watch these shows and the Star Wars shows and are just like, yeah, they're fine. Like, I'll watch them. You know,
that was a fun ride.
You know, like, and I feel like that's a general idea, but nobody's ever like, that was amazing. I don't.
Yeah.
When I look at all of these shows, I'm not excited. I don't really want, like, especially with the idea of all that's come before them. I'm just like, I don't care. I don't really
I
like. I want to care. But I mean, Daredevil.
I think Daredevil is the one I care about.
Sure, like I want to see how that's done. And Loki, like, yeah, I'm interested, but I'm not particularly, you know, I was never particularly interested in seeing this Echo show. The what if
she was not a good character in Hawkeye.
Yeah, and the what if stuff is fun sometimes. Sometimes it's really boring.
I would say for like 2/3 of season 1, I was not enjoying it.
Sure.
So I'm not excited for season 2.
I hope it's better.
Sure, I hope it's better, but I don't have much hope in Marvel these days.
Sure. Agatha, I just feel like they just jumped on like, oh, this was a popular character and let's make a show.
Absolutely.
Ironheart.
Now they have to make it.
Ironheart's interesting. But I don't. I
guess, like, I didn't think she was terrible or anything, or even bad in Wakanda Forever.
No.
But I like, for me, she was probably my least favorite part of that movie, and I don't really need a show with her, especially since we haven't gotten a good story in the comics even. So I don't know. I'm not excited for that. I can't say.
Yeah, I mean, if they're able to do anything with all these delays, I mean, they're not. Well, no, they can't really do anything. They can't even write or do rewrites or anything.
Right, because they don't have writers.
So I don't know. It's unfortunate that the strike has to keep going. Bless me.
Bless you.
But it's unfortunate. But I mean, to be honest, I mean, like, we'll get into Ahsoka later. I mean, I'm not
right.
I'm just not impressed with any of these Disney Plus shows, and I'm not like I'm not crazy about like about any of these for the most part coming out anyways, and so I'm just like, you know, if you want to push them, that's less stress on me trying to fit it into the week to try to watch it for the podcast. I mean, I don't know.
If you want to delay or even cancel them, I'm totally okay with that.
You know,
so,
like it's just it is a lot. It's a lot to put out these shows, and I mean, it's a bummer. Like, I mean, at least, like, yeah, we'll be able to see Loki in about a month. You know, maybe, like, I guess we'll see What If around Christmas. I mean, it's
the Marvels in 2 months.
Marvels in 2 months, which is kind of wild. Like, didn't they just do like a final trailer or something? And it's like 2 months out. Their movie.
Did they really? They might have. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've
right.
at least done 2 trailers at this point, and that's just kind of wild to me. Still 2 months out.
I really wish that would have come out this summer. It feels like a summer movie.
It does.
Yeah.
But
unfortunate.
I don't know. It's unfortunate, but I'm not that sad.
Okay with these.
I'm just kind of done having to talk about some of the Marvel shows. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally feel it. Well, I guess besides the delays, we were also wanting to discuss a certain trailer that came out recently.
Mm-hmm.
And we've discussed a lot about the MonsterVerse that's been happening since 2014.
Yep.
But this is a Godzilla movie that's outside of the MonsterVerse called Godzilla Minus One. And it's from like the normal Godzilla studio, but it's their first movie in like 7 years.
Yeah, I think when was the last one was what, 2015? 2016?
I think you're right. 2016, I think.
Yeah, I remember hearing a lot about that, and like they were like, it's the superior Godzilla movie. And I'm sure they're not wrong. I think it was like, if I'm not mistaken, it was a really crazy take on Godzilla, where Godzilla started out as this kind of like a it was more water bound, and it didn't even couldn't even walk on land. It just kind of and then it as it progressed, it started to grow arms, and that was the progression of the movie, was it getting to fully Godzilla status. And it was this, I like that. Yeah, it was this commentary on obviously stuff with the environment and climate change. Yeah. But it was
that's a lot of what these the first movie was very much a commentary on the nuclear stuff in World War II and them being bombed. And so I think they always have some kind of commentary going on behind it.
Yeah. But this one it seems like it's set in post World War II.
Yeah. Which is very, I'm getting a lot of similarities to the original Godzilla.
Yeah.
There's a multiple scenes, they have a huge in the original sequence on a battleship where they have to go out into the ocean and find it. I can't remember exactly what they do, but it all feels very similar to the original Godzilla, but in just much better detail and visuals. So
yeah. I think it looks really cool. I think I'm intrigued. It's only about the trailer is only about a minute and a half long. The physics are very anime because it's not it's really great. Godzilla looks great. The CGI looks great.
Mm-hmm.
But it is this where the foot goes down on the concrete and it smash,
and everything comes up,
and then you wait a second and then everything pops up very animated. And then even the physics of throwing this this ship or this truck or something was very it wasn't necessarily
exaggerated.
It was exaggerated. Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I totally I think it's such a cool difference from the I guess insane realism that we've gotten from our the first Godzilla movie for the MonsterVerse. So I think seeing such a wild style for Godzilla is kind of fun.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a normal thing for Japanese movie. I'm not very well versed.
I can't say. That's how that first Godzilla is at all. It's very much
no. You mean the original Godzilla?
The original where he's stomping through mini sets basically.
Yeah.
But it's I'm excited to see a different style. Like you said, I haven't seen really any Japanese Godzilla movies since the first one. So
right.
So it'll be cool to see some from them.
Yeah, I'll definitely
from Toho, I think.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I think it looks great. I don't really know what it is except it's talking about post-war Japan and it seems like a retelling, but
I think the line at the end was it's taking out its revenge on us or something.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that's all about.
Sure.
But I think it's pretty cool looking, pretty serious looking.
Yeah.
But that comes out in December, I think.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure. Or
I hope it comes
November?
to theaters here. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will.
Yeah, no, it says internationally. It's coming to theaters.
Awesome.
So yeah, we'll be able to see it. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Me too.
So I think lastly, what we wanted to discuss was the Ahsoka episode 3.
Yeah.
Oh boy, just that tone. But so this was a shorter episode than last week's, both of them. 34 minutes or so long. It seems to be a running theme with these Star Wars shows.
Yeah.
They just keep getting shorter.
Yeah.
So let me know what you thought.
This is the one where I guess they had basically gotten Hera to not be able to go with Ahsoka and Sabine to go chase down the hyperdrive, and then they get like the star, like the star, like one of my space battle with what's her name. It was I don't know. It was fine. It's like, just kind of
yeah.
What?
Go on.
no, I don't know. It's fine. I don't know. I wasn't crazy about it. I mean, I guess we'll save it, like, spoilers in a second. Overall, I wasn't crazy about it. I didn't hate it. I just was like, what is this? I don't know what, like, like it just felt like an extended, I don't even know. Like, it just felt like there were some cool things that happened. There were some nice things with Sabine that I liked. There's some stuff with the droid. What's his name?
Choppy?
No.
Or Hyang?
Hu Yang? Or yeah, like he's like,
he was in Clone Wars.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so all right, that works. That makes sense. But I don't know. Overall, I agree with you. It was fine. I don't know. It was okay.
I think I like it. This one, I think I like a little more than you. I won't be able to say too much without spoilers, but speaking of that space fight, there's a lot that I love about that space fight. Some stuff that I don't like, but it's more dialogue based than not. Because I think all the action's done really well. And I think the problem with this episode is that it's very much like it's almost like a slice of life episode, and it has like these first 2 acts, and then it just kind of ends, where there's not really a conclusion to this episode. But I think I don't know. I guess I'm not too pressed about that since it is a show, but it would have been nice to have some kind of wrap up. But I mean, it was definitely a slower episode.
Yeah.
So I get why you wouldn't love it. But spoilers here. I personally loved the first act of this episode, where it's a lot of Ahsoka just training Sabine, and just with sword fighting and Hyang making his asshole comments like usual. And I don't know, I live for the master apprentice stuff, and sorry, I should say master Padawan. And I thought it was done really well. I mean, they mirrored Luke's like in episode 4, his training, where he's blindfolded basically and has to fight this little droid thing. And I think that like the mirroring works really well there. But yeah, so I don't know. I really enjoyed that first act. I don't know about you.
I mean, I liked some of it. I liked the like what was cool was Hu Yang having these like orange spheres that he could then, after having Sabine practice certain attacks, he could then be like, this is how on the mark you were.
Oh, love that.
Right? That's great. And I do enjoy the blindfold stuff, but at the same time, I'm just kind of tired of Star Wars and other properties being like, hey, this is like in episode 4 where Luke was blindfolded. It's like, can we can we like have something new? And it's not like that big of a complaint. Like, it's fine. I didn't even like think too much about it for episode 4.
So, like, I totally feel you, but for me, I guess it was done in a subtle enough way, and it worked logically that I was like totally fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, I am fine with it. It's just that happens. The start of the whole show happens with this callback to like they're using these old Jedi codes or these old Imperial codes,
right?
And it's like, well, we've seen this before. We've seen this before. I don't, I don't like that. It's like, hey, if we show them something that they've seen before, they'll probably like it. And it's like,
right.
But they did it, and then they did it in a really stupid way where they had the captain of this ship let them in just because. Oh, it might be fun. to fuck with them while we carry this high priority, prisoner.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. But and then there's other things about like this episode that was dumb, like Hera asking, hey, so there's these guys who are not exactly Jedi, but they're not Sith, but they like took off with this hyperdrive, and we also went to this New Republic base where everyone turned out to be imperialist supporters, and I put a tracking device on there, but can I please go look for them? And they all go, all these people are like,
nah.
Sounds like you
sounds like you just want to look for Ezra.
Yeah, I don't think you should do it. Okay. That's so stupid. That is ridiculous. So now,
look, here's the thing. She's a general. She's got to play by the rules,
She didn't play by the rules to go investigate the goddamn thing. I don't think.
Yeah, well, probably not.
Like, should she? But what rules? What are that you can't go check it out? Go like follow them? What?
I guess
she's a general.
She needs authorization to leave the galaxy, maybe.
Oh my god,
I don't know.
It's just dumb because it's just how's a way to get Sabine and Ahsoka alone together or like Hera out of the picture? It's just
right.
It's just I just think it's dumb. And then
I will say I did read up on the character who like that Hera calls out for just kind of like standing on the sidelines and like then joining the the right side after it was won. Apparently that character's son is in the show Star Wars Resistance, and he ends up being like a traitor to I guess the good guys in that show. So that's kind of a cool. I don't know anyone who's watched Star Wars Resistance. So that's cool that they're even like linking it.
Sure.
But yeah, I feel you. They are definitely writing some like flimsy plot points to get to a certain like area the show wants to be in.
Right.
But and with you on the mirroring stuff, like I will agree with you. They mirrored episode 4 again with the space battle where Sabine goes down and like gets in the turret,
right,
and starts shooting. And I guess that's like I saw some complaints, and I totally think they're valid, and I agree that like Sabine is like an experienced war veteran. She should not be like somewhat of a rookie or like kind of getting excited about her first kill in like the turret in Ahsoka's old ship. Like she should be a little past that, I think, and I agree.
Yeah. I mean, but, I guess like she was like, what happened to my presets? And I was like, well, I was like, okay, I understand that, but you still shouldn't be like that. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
I agree. They kind of tried to like do something like, hey, what happened to the things that I programmed on the turns? And it's like, I don't know.
They tried. But I think that space battle in general was very cool. Like I absolutely fucking loved that Ahsoka got out of the ship and was like fighting them on top of her ship. I thought that was like one of the coolest things we've ever seen in Star Wars. And I'm so happy that like, I don't know. I feel like you would see that in like Clone Wars or Rebels and not in like live action. And now we're getting that kind of stuff in live action.
I think it's cool, but my issue with it is it just felt like it just felt like a CGI character doing it. Like there's no like close up. It didn't like there didn't feel like there like a close up, any sort of like semblance of like Rosario Dawson actually doing any of that. A lot of it's like off at a distance, and they're like doing, I don't know, like I thought the idea was cool. I just thought that it just felt like, I don't know. I think, and another issue that I have with that particular moment is this hyperdrive, this hyperspace sort of what would you call that? Where they hyperspace jump sort of.
Oh, that ring.
Like it's shooting at them almost point blank range, not blowing them up, but
Yeah.
And then you have the fighters behind them, or the ships behind them, like attacking them. And so they eventually get like knocked out of commission. But like that seems like a fully functional station that should have 360 degrees like points of view.
Right.
And it's not like they were like it doesn't seem like they were out of range. And like it's like I don't understand why they didn't just blow them up. They were like, no, let's just like drive in. And
she said she almost did. So,
but why wouldn't you just not blow them up? It's like, hey,
I don't know.
They were like the person's literally like, you didn't get them. Like you thought you got them, but you didn't. Like you could have been like, oh, okay, where are they? There. Okay. No, they got it. They got it taken care of. No big deal. But I will say, like, in agreement with you on the space fighting there. I'm just remembering now that I was a little pissed off by it. That I get that Ahsoka's ship is much larger and probably has better defenses, but why would the villains pick such shit like ships to chase them in? Yeah, because I swear they probably hit that shit like Ahsoka's ship like 50 times. Yeah, and like there's not even a scratch. Yeah, and then they get shot once and just explode immediately. Well, and I'm like, I learned something that was interesting, that in like the novels, that Thrawn wanted to make a TIE Defender, which and he wanted resources towards that, and the Emperor was like, no, I want to build like the Death Star. And so the point of that was that in all, like most of Star Wars media, TIE fighter, the villain ships usually just get blown up in one shot, where like the heroes will take like multiple shield shots. And so like the point of the TIE Defender was so that they could take multiple shots and not get blown up.
But if a TIE fighter is something that's offensive, then shouldn't it do something to Ahsoka's ship, right? Like logically.
I agree. It's one of those Star
like,
Wars
sure,
isms.
They can get blown up in one hit, but I feel like you should be doing more offensively.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah.
And it was supposed to be like have the amount of like attack that like a TIE bomber has too. So it was supposed to be like this great like thing. And so it's just a bit of like information, but
it's neat.
But yeah, like they just get blown up in one shot. And like that's the other thing, is like I didn't ever feel like Ahsoka's ship was like ever close to like being in danger. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. No, there's a lot of little problems with this episode, unfortunately.
But the more
we talk about it.
It was just kind of middle of the road. Like there was things I liked about it, which was mostly just like the slice of life stuff that you were talking about. The space battle was neither.
Some stuff was cool, some stuff was bad.
Yeah, like some stuff was like there was cool stuff about it. I will agree, like the Ahsoka getting out of the ship, like that was cool. But like for the most part, I didn't ever like I just don't feel I just don't feel anything for like a vast majority of like, I don't feel stakes for a lot of the characters. I also don't know what like Ahsoka's, like I just don't feel a lot for Ahsoka in her show, and I don't feel like it is her show. I feel more things for Sabine, and now we're gonna have now they're both on the same planet as like the villains, and they're obviously gonna like clash in the next episode, which is exciting. But
it's exciting, yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe they should be dropping 2 at a time. I don't know.
We're almost halfway through this season, and I just don't,
because it's only 7 episodes, right?
Oh, is there only 7?
Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. I thought I heard 7, but I could be wrong.
Well, either way, I mean, we're 3 episodes in, and I just don't feel like, I just don't understand what the point of the show is, other than a bridging, of Star Wars media to bring Thrawn and Ezra back. And I agree with you. Like, I do think that whoever that is in the Inquisitors, like suit is probably someone we know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Ezra and it's like some sort of infiltration sort of thing. I doubt that he would ever he would actually go bad by any means. Like maybe it's just like a false sort of thing. But I do think it's somebody that we know for sure.
What if it's Jar Jar?
Okay, there's no way, because that person was still talking coherently.
You're right.
You can't.
You're right. He's not speaking in that code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way you can take that out of Jar Jar.
Okay, so it's either Ezra or Starkiller, maybe.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I don't think it's Starkiller.
But I don't know if you saw, but Starkiller's voice actor was in the credits of the first 2 episodes.
Does he? But does he do a lot of other voices for?
I don't know. He probably does.
If it is, that's cool. But don't you think that like he would be like way OP power?
Well, that's the thing, is that like I don't even think you. I mean, yes, it would serve the story well, because it would be like, Anakin's a Padawan versus Darth Vader's apprentice.
Sure.
So that's a very cool versus.
Sure.
But like to bring him in, you'd have to scale him down from the video games, and I don't think anyone who played the video games would be happy with that interpretation of the character.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
but
I don't know.
if you're going to bring in this Star Wars Resistance character, I mean, I guess it's all game. So
it is all game, yeah. But yeah, it's possible. I think I would rather it be Ezra at this point, but we'll see. Definitely someone we know, though.
But it better be like, if it is Ezra, it better they better have some hell of a story to like make I'd love to know what the whole point of. I will say I did like having the Purgils, the space whales, like that was kind of fun.
That was nice.
There was some cool stuff with that. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I was more crazy.
More,
I do want more. I don't. Yeah.
And this episode 2, like I finally got to the point where I was like, okay, I guess I'm accepting like this version of Ahsoka we're getting. Just like stoic version.
Too like very stoic, like not a whole lot of personality.
And I'm just like, you know what? It's not going to change. I just need to like get past it and just accept that this is who Ahsoka is now.
Yeah.
But which is probably not a good thing, but whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's our thoughts on Ahsoka episode 3. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. I do think that the show could still turn out to be pretty good. I just wish there was a bit more going on. I'm
totally
interested
agree.
for the next episode. I don't. It's
yeah. Hopefully it gets better.
Yeah,
but it's not like it's terrible or anything.
No.
So, but yeah. So this is the time in the podcast where we talk about what we watched in the last week. Did you watch anything this past week?
Not really.
Yeah.
To be honest, I just been watching like my, Harley Quinn and Superman shows, which by the way, I think we're almost at the end of that animated Superman, My Adventures with Superman.
I've just kind of made the choice that I'm just going to binge it when it all comes out.
Okay.
I haven't been keeping up.
Well, I think you'll really like it.
Nice.
It's really good.
Yeah. I saw the first 3 episodes and I think that's it.
Oh, wow. So, okay. Yeah, no, you'll love it. You'll love it.
Cool.
But yeah, no, I really haven't been watching that much, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the only stuff that I've watched this past week or 2 was I started on a rewatch of the DC movies.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I'm 2 of the 9 projects into that. I don't know if I talked about that last week on the podcast.
No,
but
I don't think you did.
9 projects are Man of Steel. Well, I guess I should go Wonder Woman, then Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then it would be, I guess it would be, what would come after? I guess it would be Aquaman next, and then, then the Suicide Squad, then Peacemaker, and then Flash. Yeah. So 2 of 9 through it.
Which ones? Wonder Woman and Man of Steel?
Yeah, and both pretty great origin movies. So good ride so far. And
gonna
I'd seen
watch
Man
the-
of Steel already this year.
Yeah.
so-
Are you gonna watch the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to. It's like the only version worth watching, honestly. So, but yeah, then I also started with my friend and roommate Manny. We started on a Transformers rewatch.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, and what's so funny is that he was very convinced that the second movie was the best of the trilogy.
Yeah. Okay.
And we saw the first two, and I was happy to be right that the second one is not good. But here's the thing: I was hoping to be proven wrong, but I'm glad that he realized that his opinion was not correct all these years, and that the second one falls short of a lot of what the first movie did. But yeah, I mean, first movie's still a classic.
Yeah, I mean, I like Dark of the Moon, the third one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to watching that one because I remember it being good.
Like at least like I go to it for the action scenes because the action scenes were sick. Yeah. Are you gonna go like which movies are you gonna do? Because I could not finish the last night.
Yeah, I'm tempted to not go all the way there, although I've never seen The Last Night.
Oh God, it's abysmal. It's terrible.
Like if we watch all 7 movies, we're gonna do the first 3 and then go back to Bumblebee and then Rise of the Beast and then do 4 and 5.
Why?
So, because I would rather watch Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast first than 4 and 5. So I think it's a cool little prequel flashback almost.
Sure.
Yeah.
4 is not that bad. It's not great, but
it's not. I wouldn't say it's good either though.
It's been so long since I saw it one time and it was like a fever dream.
I thought we all saw it in theaters together.
We did,
to be honest. Yeah. I remember coming out of it and not liking it, but that's me.
I couldn't even finish the 5th one, so I don't know how you guys are gonna watch it.
I know the premise is really bad.
It's so
I've read
bad.
the premise.
It is horrendous.
So excited to see Merlin and then the round table.
Oh my! Don't even get me started. It's so stupid. And then Anthony Hopkins just be like, "But you do want to know, don't you, dude?" It's so bad.
Weird. He's in that movie.
It's and he has like a butler robot, a butler transformer.
Of course he does.
It's insane.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, that's all I watched this last week. Just gonna keep on those rewatch of the series.
Gotcha.
Yep. But yeah, I think that's the podcast for this week. I don't know if you all could tell, but this is a Discord recorded podcast, so there might have been some delay in in me responding to Zack, or I think I said bless you at one point, so that might have been like 2 seconds after you sneezed. Who knows? But yeah, I hope it wasn't noticeable or awkward. But yeah, I appreciate you all listening to this one. We will be back in studio next week, most likely. And if you'd like to listen to us in the future, we release on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and Spotify. And we release the video versions to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like to follow us on our social medias, we are at Last Week This Week Pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you want to support us one more time further, we would always appreciate a like, a comment, a rating, a subscribe, or a review on any of those platforms.
Yep. Thank you very much for listening. And we will, until next time, we will see you again. Until next time.